Guys, in today's video, I'm discussing the DJI AVATA and we're talking about the signal today. So overall, what is the signal like on this drone? We've come to this really nice location, but loads of tall trees. It's like a forest here. Love it, brilliant place. However, how is that going to affect the overall penetration of the drone, the signal performance? Because bear in mind, we are in the UK, so we've got the CE mode, not FCC. Now, that's not the drone's fault, that's not DJI's fault. This is because of the people sat behind the desk thinking this is a good idea. But overall, what does that mean in real world? Does it affect the signal so much that it's not very good? Now, for this example, I'm going to be using the new goggles too. Now, me personally, I find that the V2 goggles have a slightly better range when using them from testing them before. But overall, I really do prefer these because of the size of them. I think the range is maybe better. I'm not 100% on this. This has got 2 antennas. The V2 have got 4 on them. Maybe that plays a part in it. But overall, I prefer these because they're so much lighter, easier for traveling. The display is better. And I like how you can fully adjust this at the bottom to get your optimal kind of comfort level. So this is good. So I'm going to be using that. This is what I've got. I'm going to be using, I'm not using the motion controller. I'm using the DJI remote. I'm using the goggles too. I'm going to have it linked to my phone so I can screen record it, and then the AVATA. So let's get going over here. Okay, so first of all, I'm just going to fly it in a straight line, straight up to around about the 500 meter mark. And look at the bottom right hand corner. This is what you need to look at. This is going to be the RC and the HD signal, and also where it says 50 megabits per second. All that will change, and you want the bars to be as strong as possible, especially in FPV. As you can see there, around about 500 meters, the RC and HD signal are still super strong with 50 megabits per second. So that is good considering all these trees here as well. Now you're seeing this through the goggles feed. This is what you see when you're flying the drone, and I love that you can see that H on the screen just on the bottom left hand corner there. So that shows me where my home point is. This is the only point at the moment in this area where I'm going to be losing signal now, about 300 meters away, but I am fairly low and I've got all these trees blocking my signal, and it dropped then to about 3 bars on that HD signal. As soon as that drops quite low, the goggles feed will become quite pixelated and laggy, but you can see as I'm getting closer to me now that HD signal is boosting again along with the RC. But again, I am low. Trees, twigs are a nightmare with anything to do with drone signals, no matter which drone you fly. As I now go this way, I'm just going to go again towards these trees. I'm now going in the direction that I'm facing, so that signal should be brilliant. And it is, it's staying nice and stable. Let's not forget this is in the UK CE mode. The megabits per second has dropped then to about 40, 29, 30 now as I'm going around these trees, but the HD and RC signal is still super good. Right, let's take it now low. So I'm really low to the ground here. You can see my home point, but it is really low, and that signal, the megabits per second dropped, but the HD and the RC signal is still strong. The HD is on about 3 bars now because I'm really low here. The controller's not pointing directly at the drone because the drone is a lot lower, but it's still good enough. Now, if this was FCC, then that HD signal and RC was probably boosted a lot more. But this is still usable 100% considering the area that we are in. Let's have a look at somewhere else. And as I fly through these trees, the signal is still pretty good. It does start to drop off a little bit now, but this is understandable because of where I am in consideration to the drone. So as I now go around these trees, we just look at that HD signal that's dropping. But as I go around these trees and the drone is now going to be facing in my direction, that HD signal has boosted once more. So again, it is good. If this was a Mini 3, it'd probably be the exact same. Flying through these trees now, it is completely behind me. So you can see now that megabits per second has dropped completely. That HD is now on 2 bars. And I'm going to get red bars, which is now here. So that is pretty bad. But that's because look where it is in consideration to where I am, completely behind me. So it's going to be dependent on your location. However, I'm pretty impressed with how this signal has been in CE mode in the UK in a forest like this, and it's still got a really strong signal. I thought it was going to be a lot worse. And switching it into manual mode, which is where you want that signal to be utmost important for getting these diving shots, making sure that if you're going through objects, you want that signal to be as good as possible. And just look at the signal. The signal is still decent. I'm not going to be going really far away, but when I am getting really close to objects or going around things, that signal has stayed decent. Now, I could have done a test like this in a really big open field, and that probably wouldn't be accurate because most people aren't going to be flying it all the time in a big open field. So I've come to an area like this which is challenging, and that signal has still performed good. So I wouldn't be put off at all. What about the motion controller? I'm going to test that in a second, but so far so good with this, certainly. All right, pretty good. I'm impressed with that. So overall, considering that I'm just sat here, I've not stood up, I've not been facing the drone completely all the time, just been sat in the same location using this controller, that signal was good. It did drop out just over those trees back there, but that's because it was completely behind me. So I think it certainly could be a lot worse of those tests. It got to the 500-meter mark without dropping pretty much any bars whatsoever. And even over all these trees fairly low as well in different kind of flying styles, it kept that signal decent. It's good. I wish we had the FTC mode, certainly, but I think it's definitely usable. So whilst I've still got a bit of battery life left, let's switch over to the motion controller first before changing locations to see what the signal's like on that as well. And if you are interested, if you are using the motion controller afterwards or before it, you literally don't have to do anything. Once you've firstly paired it with your drone, it just knows automatically. So now I've turned off the RC, I've switched over to the motion controller, and it just auto pairs straight away so I can get flying again. So the drone's just over there. I'll get this in the air and switch over to this and see what the signal's like using this controller now. Okay, so pretty much the same on-screen display now. So just take a look at the RC and the HD signal bars at 50 megabits per second. That's going to fluctuate. And also the battery isn't very strong at all, is it? So that's my fault. You'll notice when using the motion controller, we have that circle now in the middle of the screen. So basically, whatever direction your wrist is pointing, so left, right, up or down, this is going to then move. So you have that positioned where you want the drone to go. And you can increase the altitude, you can get it to turn like this. It is an absolute breeze and doddle to fly around. And this is why it's so good for beginners to get practicing on this first of all. You can use normal and sports mode. And you just point where you want it to go. So if I've got this circle now just to the side of these trees, I can either go in this between the trees like this, just by moving my wrist. It's all done intuitively just by wrist movements. And everything that you'll see now is what you see through the goggles. So the rock steady stabilization and the horizon lock is all put in afterwards. So when you watch it back through the SD card, like now, this footage is obviously a lot smoother because all that post stabilization is done for you. What you see through the goggles is this. The signal is good. I'm impressed with it. I can go in and out of objects. I can get pretty low here. I can just look at these trees and just turn my wrist to the left and it will just basically just glide around these trees. Normal and sports is a lot of fun and easy to use with the motion controller. And it's certainly a lot more challenging with the remote controller than the motion controller for getting through small objects like this. I can just fly towards me here. I can have that little circle underneath this gate and straight through. So yeah, really impressed. So it's certainly not the full FPV experience using this, but I do enjoy it. I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's perfect for beginners, especially who have never flown FPV before, because you've got all the safety features built onto this, but it's certainly a more relaxed way of flying that drone. But the signal was good. I still had a strong feed through my goggles. I could see everything clearly, and it was able to do low shots, high shots, circling around things. I didn't really go far out because you're not going to if you have this. This is more for in the area that you're in. So here's perfect. We've got trees to go through. We've got a little gate here. That's what this is for. So this is certainly a lot of fun. I do prefer using the controller. The controller also, you can get further. The range is better on that with the external antenna built in. But overall, what do we think about the range? Let's discuss. So the CE FCC debate is certainly there, and I completely get it. And I am with you, I understand, and I agree with you. It is annoying being in the UK myself, still having to adopt the European CE rules. It's annoying, it's frustrating. I wish we had FCC, certainly in the UK, it'd be awesome. And I wish it was all around everywhere. Everywhere should have it. I don't like how technology or these drones are limited with the power or the range or what you could get out of them just from where you live. It's unfair. Now, I don't fly really far out. I find that quite boring, and certainly FPV. In FPV flying, everything you want to do is in that area. You're picking this area and finding kind of interesting things or obstacles to fly through. So did it affect the performance being in CE mode? No. I was still able on both the motion controller and the RC controller to have a really decent experience with it. I purposely stood right there in the middle, and I didn't turn around when I was flying around. So literally I was stood in the same position all the time, and the drone was flying front of me, behind me, left and right, and the signal wasn't dropping out. It did drop out a couple of times over some trees when it was behind me, but it would do that on the Mini 3 as well. So this signal, it is annoying. I wish it was better. I think it's actually, someone said it's 80% less stronger, or 80% weaker, shall we say, than the FCC. So it is annoying. It's bloody annoying. Now, as regards to FPV, I've not been flying FPV long. I think the technical term I would be is classed as shit. But I do try and get better. And the fun that you can have flying this, and it's unmatched. Just, you know, doing dives there over those trees, try and get in and out of obstacles. It is such a thrill and an adrenaline rush when you pull it off. But it is robust, so I like it. And also, it's so easy to travel with and just get set up. The goggles are ace because they're really small, and this being so tiny, it's a bag of fun to fly with. The motion controller is fun. It's not the FPV full experience. As I think I said in the other video, if you've got a mate or someone and they want to actually have a go with this, don't give them the RC controller, they will crash it. But give them the motion controller and watch that smile on the face. It's a lot of fun. Oh my God, this is so much fun. Really, really good fun. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. I hope that kind of put some assurance, like a real world test about what the signal is like in this awesome area. What a place. See you soon, guys. Bye bye.